Hello everyone, I haven't uploaded my first video. It's 100 degrees now. This morning it was like 80 something and now it's 100. Hopefully some of these people will clear out. I see people coming out. It looks blurry on my camera, which is a good thing because then you can't see who they are. But hopefully some of these people will clear out. Look up all the way back here. There's the alley that I can't block, but I'm all the way back here today because of all these cars that are there. Hopefully, like I said, they'll clear out. We'll find out. I'm kind of upset because my friend from church, she's like, oh, because I saw a blonde lady and I said, look, she's got blonde hair. I said, I want to go blonde, but with highlights and not like all one color. Because honestly, knock on wood, her hair was blonde, but it was also kind of orangey. And I was telling her that the last hairdresser, and my hair's not short. Let me show you all really quick. I have it in a ponytail. That's how long my hair is. How are you going to tell me this is short? And I just messed up my damn ponytail. I told her hair looks orangey, and then I said I went to this hairdresser one time that gave me some highlights. They charged me at the time $80, I think, but it ended up costing me even more because the highlights that she gave me, there was like a barrier, a language barrier there. One thing about me is I understand Spanish, but apparently I don't know some words in Spanish, and I can't speak it very well. Okay, just like 2 days ago, I was at the Walmart market and I was looking for mushrooms, and I finally ran into somebody and I said, "Man, where do you have your mushrooms? I can't find them." And she goes, "No entiendo." And I was just like, I don't know how to say it in Spanish." And then she told me, "Here, type it on my phone." So I was like, okay. So I typed mushrooms, and she was on the app, I guess, their app that they use. Is anybody leaving? No. And so I typed it, and then she says, "Oh, okay." And then she told me, more or less where it was at. And then I told her, "Perdón, sí entiendo español, pero no lo hablo muy bien." And then she's like, "No, está bien, está bien." And I said, "¿Cómo se dice?" And she's like, "Hongos." So I said, okay, so now I know mushrooms is hongos. And you know what? I was thinking that's what I should do on my spare time. Instead of wasting my time watching nonsense on YouTube, I should be looking into language, sign language, and other things that I want to look into, like psychology and sociology. No, nobody's moving, you all. Everybody's still in there. Anyway, I only have my shade on my side. So anyhow, as I was saying, so with this hairdresser, I told her blonde. I want blonde. And I don't know what word, I don't remember what color she said. And I said, oh, I guess that's how you say blonde in Spanish. And I was like, okay. I just said, okay. So she did my hair, and guess what? Guess what I got? I got orange highlights. They were like orangey, can't even describe it, yellow-orange highlight. It looked horrific. And I told her, this is not what I wanted. This is not the color. How did we get mixed up here, And then I realized, because neither one of us could understand each other. And I'm like, then why the hell didn't she ask somebody else? Why didn't she ask me to type it out or something? And it didn't occur to me either at the time. I just figured, well, she's a hairdresser. She knows what she's talking about, right? And I'm the idiot client. So, no, I ended up going back to her a couple of days later because she did it on a Friday or a Saturday. And Sunday they're closed, and Monday they're closed. So I ended up going back like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't even remember what day. And she toned it down, which came out way better. But it was in blonde. And she still proceeded to charge me for the service. She charged me like an extra $40 for the service. And I was just like, you're charging me for a mistake you made just because you couldn't understand me. Like, wow. I went ahead and paid her. Never again did I go back, ever. And incidentally, she had blonde highlights at the time that she did my hair, and I told her I wanted it that color. So how she got mixed up, I don't know, but I thought that was a big ripoff, you know, and I was so upset about it. Now I know that blonde is rubio. You say, quiero rubio. Okay, so why couldn't we figure that out before, you know? But then I went to another hairdresser. I don't even know why I'm on the topic of hair. I guess because I was looking at hair earlier. I went to another hairdresser, my sister's hairdresser. Surely this is the guy that's really good, you know? I mean, she goes to him all the time, and so does my niece. And he does charge high dollar, you know? So at that time, I had just come into some money. That's when my mom had passed away. I got like $7,000 out of the house. I'm not going to get into that because I'm so pissed about that. But I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go get me a biolage, right? Highlights are biolage. Well, he didn't recommend highlights. He did not want to do highlights. He wanted to do a biolage. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Just give me something, you know? What color do you want? Blonde. Are you sure that's what you want? Because it's a lot of maintenance. And I did say I didn't want to, like, have to maintain it either. So maybe that's why he kept asking me. I don't know. But he was just like, yeah, and then you're going to have to buy the purple shampoo and da-da-da-da and do this and do that. So I was just like, fine, just give me some like hers. That's a perfect color for you. And it was his assistant at the time. I don't even know if she's still there or not. Well, needless to say, the biolage came out really nice. I did notice he kind of missed the mark a bit on my right side. There was like a streak mark. And if I were to put my hair back, you could see it like really good. But if I put my hair down, you wouldn't be able to see it. And oh my goodness, that car in the back almost hit the car behind me. Whoa, that was scary. That's why I don't like to be the last car. But there's one behind me, so. Well, after the alley. So anyhow, I was like, I didn't want to go back because I'm like, no, he's probably going to charge me to fix that part only, even though it's his mistake. So I just left it alone. I love the color. I love the way my hair felt. He did a treatment after, and he did a special treatment. It's not like any treatment. And that was like $60 more. Now at that time, in total, I ended up paying like $200, which is not bad. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you think about it, a lot of places will charge you $200. That's why my friend says, why so much? Your hair is short. I'm like, it is not short. Anyway, they'll charge you $200, and if you want a treatment, it's extra, like $60 or $80. You end up leaving like paying $300 in total for everything, which is not good. But this treatment that he used, I did research it. You can buy it on Amazon, but you have to know how to mix it. If you screw up on mixing it, you just lost your $60. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, ooh. And it's some kind of like a white liquid. But whatever it is that he uses, let me tell you, or he used at the time, I don't know if he still does, your hair would stay really soft. I have gone to places where you can color your hair, you get highlights on your hair, and afterwards you will feel your hair just brittle and dry and damaged. With him, after all that, your hair felt even healthier than before. So yeah, I might just consider going back to him. Of course, I'm gonna have to save. I was hoping to have saved by now since it's summer, but things come up, life happens. Yeah, you can't save as much as you want. But I mean, I do have my Ulta credit card that I could use. He doesn't work at Ulta. He has his own salon, but I could go with a girl that usually cuts my hair there. But I'm like, no, because they don't have that treatment that he uses. So it would be pointless for me to go charge it on my card, make my balance even bigger, and end up with dry hair, you know? Right now, I do diet. I do do my roots. And sometimes, you know, I'll go ahead and spread the color all over my hair so I can match my roots, you know? And honestly, whenever I dye my hair entirely, it'll feel better than before, because once the color starts to fade, my hair will look like really dry and ugly, and then once I do the coloring, it'll look nice and healthy again. So, and I don't do anything special. I don't even use a conditioner that's in the box. I use my own conditioner, you know. I use the Biolage shampoo and conditioner. I've been using it for years. Hairdressers will be like, ew, Biolage, that's so old. Nobody uses Biolage anymore. Really? They don't? Then why do they sell it at Ulta? You know? So don't let them convince you that whatever products that you're using are old. You use whatever works for your hair. I can't use over-the-counter shampoo, like your drugstore shampoo, your grocery store shampoo, because it does dry out my hair big time. It'll either dry it out or leave it oily. So that's why I buy at the Ulta, right? But this is a shampoo, knock on wood, that's been working for me so many years already. You can't switch. I've tried switching. At one time I was even using the very sexy hair, the red bottle, and I liked it. But then, I don't know, for some reason, and I'm not saying like the Ulta's the best either, because for some reason I got some funky smell out of one bottle and it was on my hair and I did not like it, so I just finished it up, didn't buy it again. And then I started using the All Soft Redken. And at first, it worked really good for me. It left my hair so soft. I liked the way it smelled. But then I would end up with this grease spot on top of my head. And it was just like, gross. So I finished that one. And then I used a pink one by Redken. Same thing. At first, it worked really well. But then it got greasy on top. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. I went back to my Old Faithful, which is Biolage, and I am sticking to that. So use whatever works for you. Even if you buy it at the grocery, Pantene or whatever, or the Everclear, what is it called? The one by L'Oreal, the pink one. If that works for you, great. In fact, I wanted to try it, but I was just like, no, I really don't want to waste the money. You know, I don't want to waste money on buying something and then I'm not going to like it and I can't take it back. So I'm just like, no, forget it. I'm just going to keep buying my Old Faithful. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, I need to upload my other video that I did this morning. Service was awesome. And I shared it on my community post. And I just want to say a side note. Just a quick side note. And it's about grieving the loss of a loved one. We've all lost someone in our lives at one point or another that was a family member. And I'm trying to be very careful on how I say this because I don't want to seem offensive, but some people tend to talk about their grief as it's like if it's more than what you grieved. And that's not correct, because I know it's different losing a parent from losing a spouse. That hits different. The grieving is the same, but it hits differently. And I completely understand that, but I know people that have lost their spouses, and you can't tell me that your loss of your spouse is worse than theirs, or that the loss of both of my parents throughout the years is worse. I mean, it's better, and yours is worse than mine. Like, grief is grief, you know? But like I said, it just hits different. Just like if you lost a spouse, and you lost, and the other person, I'm stuttering here because I'm trying to be careful on how I say this, and the other person loses a child. Now, how are you going to say, well, my grief is worse because I lost my husband, you lost a child? That's different. I would think losing a child would be worse than losing a spouse. That's just in my head. But no. Now that I think about it, let me retract that, because no. I that came out wrong. I'm still gonna stand by what I said just a minute ago. It just hits different. And I read a comment somewhere where somebody was severely abused by their parent, and then I saw another. Before I get into that comment, I saw another video on X where my heart just tore. I mean, it just tore to pieces. This guy was talking to his mother, and his mother just came out and said, I don't love you. I regret having you. I don't know what to tell you. I know those words. I'm very familiar with those words. I've heard those words myself. But as a younger child, he heard it as an adult. Does that hit differently? No. Those words hurt the same, whether you're younger or older. It hurts the same. And I just felt for this gentleman, you know, and he tried to make amends with his parent. His parent is still alive. He tried to make amends with her. He took her out to lunch, dinner, or whatever. And he was talking to her again, and he was, you know, asking her, like, why do you feel that way? You know, I love you. You know, despite of everything that you've told me, I love you as my mother. And I don't understand why you have these feelings towards me. You know, like you resent me. And she said, look, I brought you into this world. I did what I did. I raised you. I didn't give you up for adoption. I didn't leave you at a doorstep somewhere. My job is done. But no, I still stand by what I said. I do not love you. And I wish I never had you. And it's like, dang. You know? Wow. And he was disappointed, needless to say. I mean, very upset about it. And people were more positive in his comments towards him. He did say he still loved his mother, and this is where I'm going with this. He still said he loved his mother. The other person that was abused by their mother, they still said that they loved their mother. Excuse me. And one of the comments there on that one said, how can you still love your mother if she treated you so bad? That's so stupid. Da, da, da. You know, they went on and on with their rant. And I'm so glad that somebody put this in there, and they said because regardless of how their mother treated them, that is their mother, and they will forever love them. That's the only person they knew as their mother. And there is a lot of truth to that, and I can vouch for that because I still have my days, they come in waves, where I miss my mom tremendously. I'll remember some of our good memories. In fact, my older son brought up that they were going to have Angels in the Outfield play at, I think it was at the local park that we have, where they do a lot of events. And in fact, I think it's the one where we went to the Halloween thing. And anyhow, I told him, that was your grandma's favorite movie. Well, one of them. It was that one and Angels in the Outfield. Did I already say that? Mrs. Doubtfire. That's the other one. And then there's one with a whale. Oh my God, I forgot the name of that one completely. But those were her favorites to go to movies, right? And he's like, yeah, and his girlfriend, my son's girlfriend, was there at the time, and she's like, yeah, we're gonna go see it, you know. I almost said my son's name. Told me that his mom, his grandma, really, really enjoyed that movie, and I said, yeah, I would really like to go myself. And she's gonna have a little stand there where she's gonna sell her crafts, so I may go anyway and take my son. Or if the husband's here, which probably not, I'll go just to have that memory, you know, relived again. But anyhow, yeah, like, you just, the grieving never stops when you lose someone, and nobody's grieving is a lot worse than the next person's. Everybody's the same. It hits differently in different ways, you know? Okay. I have rambled on for 22 minutes and 50 seconds. The Walking Dead, last week. I know you all are like, oh, not again, Moon, please. Yes, I'm doing a series, The Walking Dead series. The Walking Dead talk. I do want to say that probably next week, I have all these lists of people that I want to go through, because I'm doing the women right now, and then the women that were leaders. But then I want to do the guys that were leaders too. But however, I think I might pause on that, because I would like to do a series, depending if I'm prepared or not, on the back rooms. We went to go see that one and talk about it affecting me mentally. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know what it is with my son, my younger son, that's taking me to these movies that are just like, they're affecting my mental, you know? And I'm like, please, don't do this to me anymore. Like, you don't know what you're doing to me. It's torturous. I think that's probably one reason as to why I went through what I went through earlier this week. We saw that movie on Tuesday, so that could be it. I did go to counseling on Thursday. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it, and I did. But I didn't really get too much into it. I want to get into more of the psychological aspect of that movie, because I felt like it touched on some areas in that way. And I don't think it meant to. I think it was meant to be more of a movie that was trying to convey a message, but not so much psychologically, you know? But it did hit me psychologically. You all, please be careful when you watch these movies. You just never know, you know? Please try to be in a good mental state when you see these movies. If you're going to therapy like I am, it may not be a good idea. It may or may not. But now that I'm preparing you for it, like telling you just be prepared, now you know, like, okay, to proceed with caution, you know, just make sure that you just don't let it affect you that way, and then kind of study it. That's how I'm getting through it. That's how it's making me feel better, by being able to study it a little bit more and getting more into it. Well, those girls are beautiful. They just passed by. I guess they just came out of a lesson, and they're dressed really pretty too. Of course, they're younger. But anyhow, oh, I thought they were parked behind me. Are they walking home? It is way too hot to walk home, ladies. Anyhow, yeah, and that's another thing that I want to talk about too, is our age and how it affects our mentality also, because I saw somebody on YouTube. I was so tempted to go into the chat. You know, I was bored, like I said. Somebody went live, and I felt really bad, and that's one thing about me. I could like be mad at you, I could not like you, but if I see you crying and I see you really down, I'm gonna try to help you, and that's just in my nature. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm just like, what can I do to help? What can I do? How can I help you? You know, like, what can I say to you, or what can we do here? You know, I want to help. You know, that's just in my nature. And it's not just with women, it's also with men. You know, it's just, I have a heart for that, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if some of you take it wrong, but that's who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am. But yeah, I would like to do a video on just that. But anyway, let's get back to The Walking Dead. Has anybody left in front of me? No, just the people behind me. The two girls are leaving behind me. That's it. Man. Okay, so last week I talked about Deanna, and I mentioned how she was the planner. She's very diplomatic. She had people go through interviews before she would accept them, and then she would give them a duty, a job, you know, to do there in the community, to be productive. But she was very lenient at the same time, and she was also a pushover, right? And then I mentioned, like, I wouldn't mind being under Deanna versus Pamela, you know, from the Commonwealth. Hell no, I wouldn't want to be under that lady, or let alone Alpha. And I was thinking about, what can I say about Pamela? What can I say about her? Did I touch a little bit about her or not? Because I felt like we got to know Pam, but not really. They focused more on, oh my God, and I forgot his name. Okay, so then I'm not going to talk about Pam, because I can't even remember the other guy with Princess. I'm looking at my little, because I didn't write much on my notes. I just wrote the names of the leaders. I really don't want to get into Alpha just yet either. Let's talk about Maggie and Michonne. Maggie and Michonne are kind of like, they were kind of the same. They were both really trustworthy, and they both had that protective nature. And they always looked, both of them always looked for that security, for justice, and they were both also very maternal. I'm gonna check mark both of them, that way I can know that I already talked about them. But they were both also very maternal, and I really like that. Now, I think they were both also leaders, even though they didn't have the spotlight like Deanna or Pamela or Jadis or Alpha. But, and you may beg to differ with me, because you might say Maggie was a leader from Hilltop. Yeah, but that was very short-lived. You know? It didn't last very long, and it suddenly just switched over to Negan, right? And so we didn't really get to see a lot of that leadership from Maggie. She tried her hardest, but we didn't really get to see it very good for long. And now that I think about it, I'm trying to adjust myself here in my seat because my legs are sticking. Now that I think about it, we're going to have to turn off my car for a bit, even though it's boiling outside. We didn't really get to see a lot of Michonne's leadership very long either. It was also short-lived. Now, she did tend to show more authority than Maggie, I feel, because she didn't mess around. She was scanning anybody and everybody, and she was protecting her children, Judith and RJ. However, the thing with Michonne that was, and rightfully so, did some rock hit my window right now? Car passed by and I heard a click. Anyhow, rightfully so, her focus was finding Rick. She wants to find the father of her children. So she kind of got off track a lot because of it. And, you know, one woman that I did not put here, and I'm going to write her here on top, is Carol. Carol had all of the above, right? And we're going to save her for the last, because I really want to get into Carol. Even though Carol was not one of the leading women, you know, she didn't lead a group or anything, but she was sure as hell a leader. Anyhow, so back to Michonne, yeah, like, what I didn't like what Michonne did was that she left her kids behind. And I know she had to, because for one, she was slowly leaving the show. But I just didn't like the way they did it with her. Like, you kind of like were left to wonder, well, like, who raised the kids? Like, was Judith left on her own to raise RJ and raise herself? Because nobody else took that role. You know, at one time it looked like maybe Daryl was gonna take over, but Daryl's like, no, I'm headed out of here, Judith. Like, like, I ain't gonna stick around. And Judith's like, you're leaving me? And Daryl's like, yeah, you know, for a bit, but well, I'll still see you. I'm gonna come back, you know, but yeah. And I'm just like, what? And it made me wonder, like, what happened to, remember when they were at Alexandria and they had these kids there, and these kids had no parents, but the other survivors that were there living in that community took these kids on as their own, to the point where even the kids were calling them mom or dad, just like Gracie did with Aaron when he took Gracie in as an infant. She grew up knowing Aaron as her dad. You know, so, and that was kind of confusing to me, because I think it was from Morales, right? That was the guy's name. And he was Hispanic, and so was the mom. So how did Gracie come out white? That's kind of like an unanswered question for me, but hey, it happens, I guess. You know, maybe it was a relative. I don't know. But anyhow, But Aaron took over as her dad, you know, and so I was just wondering, like, what happened to that with Judith and RJ? How come nobody, neither Maggie, Rosita, Carol, Tara, none of them ever stepped in and said, oh, it's okay, Judith, I'm going to be your parent for now. You know, you're going to come with me. I'm going to protect you. Now, I'm sure we have to believe in our minds that the whole community protected them, but Maggie had Herschel, her son. Rosita had Coco. So Tara didn't have anybody, but Tara still wasn't, like, even looking to take care of any kid, you know? So I'm just like, wow, that was kind of like off-putting to me, but it's a show. I gotta go with it. But I love that about both of these ladies, that they put children at the top of their lists. They also put the other survivors at the top of their lists that they considered family. And I know Maggie gets so much hate, even for me, but what I really admire about Maggie is that wherever she went, Herschel went. There was never a time when Maggie was like, okay, Herschel, I'm going to leave you behind. You're going to stay here with all these strangers, with all these other people that I consider family, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go off into the woods and do what I got to do, and then I'll come back. No, she never did that. She always took Herschel with her. Now, I know there were times when Herschel was missing, he was taken and stuff like that. That's different. But it was never to where Maggie was like, I'm going to go find you and you, Daddy, so you're staying here. Now I'm the last car, so now everybody's coming towards my car. Great. Okay, it's getting hot in here. Woo, it's getting hot in here. I got in here quick. Oh, all that heat. Lord have mercy. And it doesn't help that I'm getting hungry. But anyhow, let me drink some water. Now, both these ladies, another thing that they had in common, it was revenge against one man. Rightfully so, again. And I think Maggie had more of a reason, though. Not to say that Michonne didn't have a reason. He killed a lot of her friends, and you all know who I'm talking about, the infamous Negan. The I am Negan. To this day, let me just say a little thing about him. I still, whenever I watch that episode when he killed Abraham and Glenn, it gets me every time. And Maggie, for once, I saw that tough girl just no longer existing. Like she showed a different side of her, a more vulnerable side. And that's what made me see her in a different light. And that was why I defended her in some chats. Because she wasn't always a stuck-up country girl that liked giving Glenn a hard time. With Maggie, right now that I'm thinking about it, Michonne's purpose was to look for Rick towards the end, but Maggie's purpose was revenge. And she never got it. And it really hurt me when Rick had the opportunity to kill Negan. He even sliced his throat under the tree and then says, "Save him." And Maggie's like, "What? No, he killed Glenn." And it's like, you brought us this far. And I'll get more into that when I talk about the men that were leaders. You brought us this far to do this to me? Like, I don't blame her. Somebody smashes my husband's head with a bat, and you capture him, and you slice his throat, and then you're going to say, "Save him"? I'm going to be mad at you as hell. I'm going to seek revenge on you too. You know, like, what the hell? Especially since she had that trust with Rick as a leader. And they both made that pact that they were both going to lead in the capture of Negan and just getting rid of Negan altogether. And now, of course, we know that they have the Walking Dead Dead City. They did what is it called? Not a sequel, but oh god, I forgot the name. Where it's her and Negan now, and she still hasn't killed him. She's still kind of like the storyline still following, where Negan helps her find Herschel. And they're just like, the writers are just looking for ways to redeem Negan each and every time. And honestly, they need to just give up on that already. Like, I like the actor a lot, but take him somewhere else already. You need to do something different with him. But as far as Maggie, okay, is this girl going to run into my car with her bike? She was so close. She's got one of those electric bikes. So, what was I saying? With Maggie, yeah, she was looking for Herschel still again. He went missing. I'm not even sure, like, I can't talk out of my butt right now about Dead City, because this isn't even about Dead City. But even when I started watching it, I was like, okay, here we go again, looking for Herschel. And now, what is the direction of this show? Where is it going? What are we trying to do here? We never tried to build a new world. We're still stuck in the apocalypse. Everything is still dead. People have gotten worse and darker. You know, and now it seems like there's witchcraft in that series, which I'm totally against. And I'm like, this is going to die out really quick. Like, just have everybody die, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't even know how they can come back from that. But and then you got people that are trying to ship Maggie with Negan. Are you out of your mind? I don't even know where these people come from. Are you people that are trying to ship Maggie and Negan, are you people even fans of The Walking Dead? I'm just curious. I think you've been watching too much Love Island 90 Day Fiance. I don't know what other shows there are out there. But this is not it. This is a movie, not a movie, a show, a series about survival during an apocalypse. It's not Jersey Shore, people. Like, I don't even know. I can't even conceive the thought of how these people are thinking that, oh yes, Maggie and Negan now, they should get together. No. This one comment that I read even on the new season of Dead City that I saw the clip, this one girl said, Maggie just needs to get over it. That happened a long time ago and she needs to get over it. Are you kidding me? That's like saying Maggie needs to get over the governor for chopping her father's head off. You want Maggie to get over Negan smashing her husband's head with a bat and barbed wire? Can you get over somebody murdering somebody in your family and hook up with them? That kind of thinking. Listen to that. Listen to what I just said to you. Would you be able to get over somebody killing somebody in your family and hook up with them? That right there should make you think about what you are suggesting. Like, stop it. Just stop it. They even showed a clip where Michonne was under the influence because of that guy that gave her some kind of drug, something to drink, and made her go to La La Land. And she was hallucinating, and she was working for Negan. And ow, there go my legs again, sticking in the seat. I'm surprised that these people that are like there's something wrong in their head didn't suggest, oh, Negan and Michonne should get together, you know? Well, no, Moon, because Michonne was with Rick, da 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 da. You know, like, okay. Well, Maggie was with Glenn. Yeah, but Glenn is dead now. We didn't even know if Rick was still alive or not. We know he got taken in the helicopter, but we didn't know we were ever going to hear of him again. Thank God we did, and we know where he's at, and that they reunited, right? Michonne and Rick reunited, and so did the kids. But we did not know that at the time. Everybody thought he was gone. He was dead. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That's neither here or there, but I mean, no. I would definitely not even try to watch another episode of Dead City if Negan and Maggie were to hook up. That would just be an insult. That would be the end of the show. That would just be total disgust. And I know that little Herschel, he's been like, oh, Mom, you need to move on. You need to move on. Herschel does not understand what happened to his father. Herschel did not see what happened to his father. If Herschel saw all of that, he would have probably hated Negan just as much as Maggie. He probably would have tried to kill Negan himself if he could. You know, it's... I don't even know how else I can convince you all. That car keeps coming through the alley and going back to their home, and they keep passing by and passing by. And there's a sign right here that says permit parking. Look at this. Hopefully a cop does not pass by and tells me, ma'am, you're gonna have to move. I don't even know if I should move further back or what. Oh, there's a girl in front of me in her car. Hopefully she'll leave so that I can move up. Another 15 minutes, my son's gonna come out anyway. So anyhow, yeah, so I think Maggie should find somebody. Yeah, she moved. Let me move up, y'all. Okay, what was that? What fell? Ugh. I'm gonna have to look. But I'm done. Okay, car, please don't go so close to the curb. I'm moving you this way. Here we go, much better. We're closer, everyone. Okay, but we're careful. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I think Maggie, I hope they find somebody for her. You know, I'll be honest, I was hoping that Alden and Maggie were going to be together. I just really felt like they would have been good together up until she kind of left them in that abandoned building for him to die. Like, I was just like, what the hell, Maggie? That's why I kind of like didn't like her again. And then when she let Gage, I think that was his name, that young kid, where she like wouldn't open the door, and she had the opportunity to open it, but she didn't because he was such a jerk. Look, I get it. He was a jerk, but he was also just a kid. And you watched him get eaten alive, you know? Like, come on now. But anyhow, I do hope that she will find someone. Just not Negan. And I hope that, you know, they will consider taking that show into a different direction once she finds someone. I think it would be better for the show. And I'm not saying by any means get rid of Negan. Moon, you're a hater of Negan. No, keep him. Keep him around. But just not as a couple. And that's all I've got to say. I did my best with today's review. I didn't mention this earlier. I'm not feeling well still. I took a sleep aid, one of those gummies yesterday by Oli, a supplement, not those other kind of gummies. My older son recommended me not to even go near those. So this is the reaction I had with a supplement, you know. I'm just a lightweight, you all, when it comes to drinking or taking anything. I am a big lightweight. Drinking and antibiotics are not good with me. And apparently neither are supplements. But also, you know, joking aside, even mentally, I'm not really doing all that great. You know, this car again, it's an Audi with those things on top. What the hell? Are you just like scoping out the place or scoping me out? What the hell? Anyway, but I'm getting there. I will get there. You know? I love you all. thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience if you made it this far. And please give me your feedback. I don't think there'll ever be a day when I can just stop talking about The Walking Dead. It was a show that really spoke to me, that really impacted my life, my entire life. It's kind of like, where have you been, you know? And they're kind of like my family. Each of those characters are like my family. I would do anything for them, you know? And of course, I'm speaking metaphorically. I'm not like in real life. Like, please don't think that, you know, oh boy, she's lost her head. I'm not there yet, but anyhow, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye. Look at how windy it is. You can see the trees. Can you see the trees moving? Yep, windy.